Malcolm X, who was part of the image. And Malcolm X was a fiery man, a feared man by many.
The power structure had successfully created the image of the American Negro as someone with no confidence, no militancy, and they had done this by giving him images of heroes that weren't truly militant or confident. And now here come Cassius, the exact contrast of everything that was representative of the Negro image. He said he was the greatest. All of the odds were against him. He upset the odds makers. He won. He became victorious. He became the champ. They knew that as soon as, if people began to identify with Cassius and the type of image he was creating, they were going to have trouble out of these Negroes, because they'd have Negroes walking around the street saying, "I'm the greatest."
Listen, to get up and fight.
The anchor punch.
Which punch?
Anchor. I call it the anchor punch.
That's the one Stephen Fletcher out there?
Yeah, man. And people couldn't see it. It was so fast. Sport Illustrated clocked they got a slow motion camera. They clocked the punch, and the punch flew at 4/100ths of a second. You can break a second down to 100 pieces. You know how people win a ski race? They say he won in 16 100ths. He won in 32 100ths of a second. So you can break a second down to 100 pieces. So, you know, it's quick. So 4/100, they got a machine that goes like real quick. And it counts real quick, you know, real quick. And by the time that thing hit 4, that's how quick, from the time the punch started to the where it landed, it was 4/100ths of a second, which is an eye blink. Like a camera flash, that's 400ths of a second. Now, the minute I hit Sonny Liston, all of those people blinked at that moment. That's why they didn't see the I swear. Now, if you watch the film close, you gotta hold your eyes real close and keep looking about that. When I said, all right, I'm getting ready to hit him, you can't just, you got to hold your eyes and wait, or you won't see it, man.
It had this beautiful, you know, specimen, fighting machine. You know, it was handsome, it was articulate, it was funny, charismatic, it was whooping ass, too.
Deposed heavyweight champion Cassius Clay at a federal court in Houston is found guilty of violating the U.S. Selective Service laws by refusing to be inducted. He is sentenced to 5 years in
sports. So very few black athletes have ever talked the way Muhammad Ali talked, without fear of something happening to him, their career.
His status as a black Muslim minister made him exempt from the draft.
He was already very unpopular with mainstream Americans because he had joined an organization known as the Nation of Islam, which was perceived as a radical black separatist group. And then on top of that, when he was called for induction and refused to take the step forward, he absolutely infuriated America.
Muhammad Ali said that no Viet Cong ever called me nigger.
The king is going home to get his throne. From the root to the fruit, that's where everything started at. This is God's act, and you're a part of it. This is no Hollywood set. This is real. Hollywood come here and take these kind of scenes and set them up. Have somebody in the movies playing his life. This is real. We don't pick up a script. We get up in the morning feeling tired. Sometimes we feel good, sometimes bad, but we go through it with feelings. Muhammad Ali was born to do it. He's a prophet. He's going to be a fisherman for Elijah Muhammad. This is only a stop, look, and listen sign he's doing, fighting. We've been fighting ever since we've been met. You beat Uncle Sam, 3.5 years, come out of the garage and beat number 2. First man ever did it. The rest of them they put out the country. This is God's act. We just actors in it. If Jesus was here, everybody would want his autograph, and if films was around when he was around, they'd be filming him. The only thing, this is a sport. That's why you walk and talk to him. I think Muhammad is a prophet. How you gonna beat God, son? Anybody love poor people and little people gotta be a prophet. He was champion of the world, had a long table full of food, had a house for his mother.
A bit later, and he announces that I'm no longer Cassius Clay. In fact, I believe he said he was Cassius X. It was kind of placeholder for the moment until he figured out that he was going to be Muhammad Ali. He would no longer use what he called his slave name, and that he would appreciate it very much, thank you, if you would take this information on board and respect it. And of course, not everybody was prepared to do that.
Oh, I remember the reaction. Horror. Horror, how could he? Is he crazy? It'll ruin him. White America won't stand for it, which they didn't. The response to his announcement was one of disbelief.
After the victory, then Cassius goes to New York. He's escorted around Harlem by the notorious Malcolm X. And the media has a field day. Speculation is swirling in Harlem that Malcolm any day now is going to be out of the Nation of Islam.
Elijah Muhammad, the head of the movement, is the father of 8 children by 6 different teenage girls.
Malcolm X learns that Elijah Muhammad has impregnated several of his secretaries. And he felt deeply betrayed. He felt betrayed as a man, and he felt betrayed religiously and ethically and morally by the man he had given his whole heart and trust to. And so he questioned everything, including the whole creed of the Nation of Islam and the hypocrisy of it. And there were 2 men who, above all others, he wanted to pull out of the Nation of Islam with him. One was Louis X, who was the minister in Boston, today known as Louis Farrakhan. But the second person he wanted was Cassius Clay. It's precisely at that moment that Elijah Muhammad astutely diffuses the situation by bestowing upon Cassius X an original name.
This is a gift, our leading teacher, for waking all of us up, because we were in a bad state of condition before we heard him.
Malcolm had been for a decade the most prominent minister in the Nation of Islam, and yet Cassius, well before Malcolm X, who deserved the honor, acquires the name Muhammad Ali. This is checkmate, high stakes. 2 days later, Malcolm walks out of the Nation of Islam. I think he was shocked that Clay didn't go with him.
Ali, over time, began to understand that he was big, that he was important, that he had an impact on people. The first time that really hit home was probably when he went to Africa after winning the heavyweight championship of the world. What he found was he would go someplace and people would line the roads. People would come out of the jungle just to get a glimpse at him. And for the first time, he understood that his fame wasn't confined to Louisville or Miami Beach or the United States. He represented something. He wasn't sure what, but he knew he represented something to people outside of America.
Nothing to do with this. I don't know of any peace feelers that were made, and Johnson believed none of it. And Bobby was just livid. He was so mad.
And Bobby comes back to his office and says, the president's unhinged. I mean, he was abusive and maybe just not mentally stable.
He told his aides that he would never again have anything to do with Lyndon Johnson, that the way he had been treated was so inexcusable that he could simply never have any real dealings with the man past that point.
A month later, Bobby rose in the Senate, condemned the morality of the war, and then admitted his own share of responsibility. I can testify, he said, that if fault is to be found, there is enough to go around for all, including myself.
He is the first politician of either party to take responsibility for what's happening in Vietnam. The first politician to accept blame, which gives a moral strength to the argument that he's making.
Do we have the right here in the United States to say that we're going to kill tens of thousands, make millions of people as we have, millions of people refugees, kill women and children as we have? I very seriously question whether we have that right. Now we're saying we're going to fight there so that we don't have to fight in Thailand, so that we don't have to fight on the west coast of the United States so that they won't move across the Rockies. But do we, our whole moral position, it seems to me, changes tremendously.
Robert Kennedy in 1967 has come to question the basic assumptions of the war. He has begun to question whether we really do need to make a stand in Vietnam to protect that region from communism. He's come to question whether our national security interest in Vietnam is outweighed by the incredible human suffering that we're inflicting by waging war in this country. He's questioning the moral legitimacy of this war, which is something that he hasn't done to this point. He's confronted by new issues, and he grows in order to be able to face these challenges. He really learns from experience, and he really becomes something much larger than what he was when he began.
He becomes more and more thoughtful, more and more philosophical, more and more ready to accept that he does not have a monopoly on wisdom. That maybe this war in Vietnam was a fundamental mistake, and that maybe his brother would have gotten out.
Most people acquire certainties as they grow older. Bobby Kennedy discarded certainties. He grew. He started as this zealot, and he ended up as this man very sympathetic to those who were the despised and rejected of life.
Robert Kennedy was now reaching out to Americans everywhere who had been left behind. He had fully awakened from his dark night of mourning. The moral impulse to fight evil and do good that had always been a part of him was taking a new direction.
He wanted to know what life was like for someone else. He would ask, what do you feel? What do you think? He wanted to be inside the eyes of America's casualties. He wanted to see the world the way they saw it.
People believed in his understanding of their situation because he visibly was moved. He was someone who responded in the most graphic, human, emotional terms. He was somebody who bled, who was raw from the hurt done to others.
The hurt he felt from the assassination of his brother gave him that empathy for everyone else who hurt after that. I think he did begin to change incrementally while he was Attorney General before his brother was killed, but I think that all grew dramatically after his brother's murder, because then he identified with every other victim, anyone who was a casualty in life, he began to feel was his brother.
Four days later, Bobby flew to Indianapolis for a campaign speech in a black neighborhood. En route, a reporter had told him that Martin Luther King had been murdered.
We were trying to pull together people for a mass rally for Bobby Kennedy. But there was some people saying that evening that maybe he shouldn't come because maybe there would be violence.
The police thought it was dangerous. They didn't want us to go in there, but he went. I scribbled something on a piece of paper because I knew he'd want to say something. But he had figured out what he was going to say. He had written it himself. We brought them the news that Martin Luther King had been shot.
And we were stunned, and we all cried. But that evening, Robert Kennedy spoke from his soul.
Although we make an effort in the United States, we have to make an effort to understand, to go beyond these rather difficult times.
The words, they just ring, they'll just chill your body. And he did it not in a loud, but almost in a prayerful manner.
California was pure mayhem.
People treated him like he was some rock star. It was young people, it was blacks, white, Hispanic, just pulling for him.
It was the most emotional adulation I've ever seen in politics, particularly in the black and Mexican areas. The Sunday before the primary, he invited me to ride in his car going through Watts and East LA. He said to me, I want you to see what I see. And I see this ecstasy in the eyes of blacks and Mexican Americans.
we have that love and friendship and understanding for our fellow citizens, we will have a new America. And you here in Watts, you here in Los Angeles and California, you will have made it possible, and I will work with all of you. Give me your help. Give me your help.
Not since Abraham Lincoln had a white politician been so embraced by people of color. "These are my people," he told an aide. "These are my people." On the final day of the campaign, Bobby and Ethel rode slowly through San Francisco's Chinatown. As usual, there were no armed bodyguards or Secret Service agents. "You've just got to give yourself to the people and to trust them," Bobby said. "And from then on, either luck is with you or it isn't." What sounded like shots turned out to be Chinese firecrackers. Bobby flinched, then went right on campaigning.
Robert Kennedy was fearless to the cusp of reckless. And I think there was some daring of death and fate in what he did.
The idea of Muhammad Ali traveling to Africa had actually been first posed and presented by Malcolm X. So it must have been galling to Malcolm to stand outside the hotel, the Ambassador Hotel in Accra, and encounter Muhammad Ali, who snubs him when they had once, only several months before, embraced as brothers.
Yes, Marlon. You'll never guess who my guy ran into. You know what? I gotta call you back. Le ministère de la Défense m'envoie vous présenter ses remerciements. Il n'y a pas de quoi. Cela m'a fait grand plaisir. Fais-lui mes compliments. J'en ferai autant. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée. Bonjour. Daniel. Ministère de la Défense, s'il vous plaît. C'est fait! Yeah, it's me. Yeah, Malcolm just bumped into Cassius Clay. I thought that was all over with. So did I. You stay with Clay. Oh, we'll pick up Malcolm ourselves in Liberia. Okay. All right. Bye.
Malcolm is left vulnerable and alone, and his assassination takes place on February the 21st, 1965.
Anybody else who attacks or talks about attacking Elijah Muhammad will die. No man can oppose the message of Almighty God verbally or physically and get away with it.
Visit him, as journalists do. He took out from his briefcase a picture of him and Malcolm X. He made it very clear that he carries this around as a kind of talisman of a terrible error he made in his life, which was at the instructions of the Nation of Islam to push Malcolm X away. And so, to his friend and his mentor, he behaved terribly, and he regretted it all his life.
There's great interest in the fact that you have joined the Muslim religion. How long have you had this interest, Cassius?
Oh, for the past 6 years, I would say, after hearing a lot of teachings on Negro history and who we were before we got here. And 1 and 1 makes 2.
You feel your affiliation with the Muslim religion, being a follower of the Muslim religion, had something to do with your winning the championship?
Well, I would say so.
My religion is the only thing that I can give me credit for pulling me through, because 99 out of 100 seem to see no possibility of me winning. The newspaper reporters and everybody all over the world condemned me. They said it would be a mismatch, and couldn't nobody believe it. So my prayers to Allah and faith in my religion, living a clean, righteous life, I have to say that's what pulled me through.
Malcolm X, I want to talk with you briefly about your affiliation with Cassius. How long have you known him?
About 3 years.
And have you been advising him as far as his religious affiliations are concerned?
Well, no, I don't give advice to anyone. He's my brother and my friend. I express what I know and understand around him, but he has a mind of his own and understanding of his own.
I'm only bold and cocky before and after fight.
Let me see you close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest. And I'm knocking out all bums. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
Now close your mouth, but just let me see you keep it closed for 10 seconds.
Well, that's impossible. You know that's impossible.
Henry Cooper's nothing to me. If this bum go over 5 rounds, I won't return to the United States for 30 days. That's final.
Cassius Marcellus Clay. He's young, he's handsome.
They know it.
He's a poet, a prophet, and many people believe he'll be the next heavyweight champion of the world. I saw Sonny Liston a few days ago, Cassius.
Ain't he ugly? He's too ugly to be the world champ. The world champ should be pretty like me.
Well, he told me to bet my life that you wouldn't go 3 rounds.
Well, if you want to lose your money, then bet on Sonny.
Oh, may I ask you this?
I must be the greatest. I told the world. I talk to God every day. The God's with me. Ain't nobody here better than me. I got the world. I got real God. Wait a minute. And all the wars. And we still fighting in them. And still a nigga. What you mean if I believe in separation? I've recognized the fact that you believe in it. That's what your people believe in. What you mean you don't believe in it? No, you just talking crazy. Every city I go to, I can find a black neighborhood and a white neighborhood. What you mean don't believe in it? How many Negroes live out here just in this big old neighborhood? You can't blame a black man for wanting to leave all this mistreatment. You must be crazy. So what you mean don't take white money? Only thing white about that money is the white pictures on it. What you mean white money? If that's the case, I should take off these clothes. You made them too. I shouldn't fly in your airplanes. What am I going to do? Just go out and lay them? When we first was brought to America, we were robbed of all knowledge of ourselves. If I said, here comes Mr. Chang Chung, you'd picture a Chinaman. If I said, here comes Mr. Khrushchev, you look for Russian. If I said, here comes Mr. Goldberg, you look for Jew. If I said, here comes Mr. White Cloud, you look for Indian. If I said, here comes Mr. Castro, you look for Cuban. Here comes Mr. Lumumba, Mr. Kenyatta, you look for African, a black man. Now, what's your last name? Joe's gonna come out smoking, and I ain't gonna be joking. I'll be pecking and a poking, pouring water on his smoking. Then this might shock and amaze you, but I will destroy Joe Frazier. Is Joe Frazier okay? Working 4 months for this fight. My weight today is 214 pounds. That's fight weight already. I'm way ahead of schedule. My timing, my accuracy, my reach will be 1.5 inches longer. The man is slower. The man is flat-footed. The man don't stand a chance. The stage has been set. This man is supposed to annihilate me. 10 years from Sonny Liston, I was supposed to get at that time. I think it's befitting that I go out of boxing just like I came in, shocking the world by beating a big, bad, ugly monster that nobody... I told you... You heard the name Muhammad Ali in America, champion. All the Egyptians is Muhammad Ali's Muslim. All the Arabians, Indonesians, Pakistan, Africa, in Libya, all the Afghanistan, Morocco, Pakistan, they all said Muhammad Ali, a Muslim, a world champ, his first time. That made me famous. I don't have to say I'm the race. When I quit boxing, the game died. Didn't it die? The Tyson came along. But still, when you watch Tyson, he's good, but he's no Muhammad Ali.